This conversation is often typified by the left as right-wing conservatives allowing their white supremacy to show and discrediting all the great work that single mothers do. I mean, back in the day when Tyree Nichols was beaten up by a bunch of black Memphis officers, by the way, which conveniently slipped out of the news because the officers weren't white, when Tyree Nichols was beat up by these men in a truly egregious way, there was a precipitating event, and that event was the fact that Tyree Nichols was racing through the street like a moron. And Jason Whitlock happened to suggest that perhaps the fact that this guy was doing that has something to do with the way that he was raised. And of course, that caused people on the left to get absolutely irate. Even Sierra coming out on her Twitter page and saying this. At Jason Whitlock, as a black man, to get on national TV and say something like this is irresponsible. A lot of amazing kids have come from single mothers. For you to also undermine single black women in the midst of this tragedy is so sad. This woman just lost her son. Do better. Look, stop saying this is mom shaming. Just try to understand it as nuclear family building. It's time we started acknowledging the simple fact that boys especially need homes where their father is present. And whenever you see stories like these, or the unfortunate story where there's a young black man involved in something that either physically hurts him or kills him, you can almost always know that there was a father nowhere to be found. It's a reminder to us that you can't violate God's divine law for the family and get away with it. Of course, single moms do the best that they can do, and single moms do produce good kids. I don't know that I'm a great example of this, but I'm the product of a single parent. It doesn't have anything to do with race. And my mom did the best she could. She did a great job, in fact, I think. But it doesn't undermine the fact that she did the best job she could, but she didn't do the best job a mom and a dad could. That's what boys and girls need. And it's time for us to be open to acknowledging that without having people come along and say that by acknowledging that you're disrespecting what single moms are doing. No, we're not. We're just acknowledging a simple fact that moms need dads and dads need moms. And especially those kids need them both in the same house, present and parenting those kids. And it's not always a surefire way to create well-adjusted kids, but it's a much better way to get the kind of kids our society really, really needs. It's not mom shaming. But if we are going to mom shame, we need to go to our next story, because I have in the past been accused of victim blaming by saying, hey, there may be ways in which the victim might have done something here that might have been wrong as well. Or maybe even body shaming when I've talked about Lizzo in the past and made fun of the body positivity movement as being morbidly obese and just a death wish. But we've also heard about mom shaming, and I haven't participated in it on the show, but I actually do have a problem with women whipping out their breasts and feeding their children in public, simply because I'm just not a big fan of public nudity. Nonetheless, I haven't talked about that kind of mom shaming, but there is a kind of mom shaming that we do need to talk about, and it's perfectly exemplified in this next story. In fact, I want to show you a video live from a recent event where Kim Kardashian is walking down the street with her little son Saint, who is 7 years old, and well, you'll see it yourself. So here's Kim Kardashian walking with her son Saint. Oh, and there it is, the bird. Just a cute little man. Then mommy just gently nudging him to the side. If you want to be a good mom. Oh, there's the bird again. And Kim has nothing to say about it whatsoever. Notice those other two children behind her, which I don't believe are hers, flipped a bird at anyone. Only her child did. So this is a real stumper here. Who is to blame for a 7-year-old child flipping off a bunch of paparazzi kind of being out there around her mother? Now, I know paparazzi are incredibly annoying, but this kid is 7 years old. So let's just kind of rehash a little bit of history here. So not so long ago, Kim Kardashian was slammed for letting her daughter North, who was 9 years old at the time, post to TikTok. Kim Kardashian also is raising her kids in a single-parent home after a very public divorce from Kanye. I know, obviously, Kanye has some ridiculously crazy moments, And so I'm not even going to say anything about the divorce or whether or not it should have happened or shouldn't have happened, because I have no understanding of what took place. All I can say to you is that when you piece together the fact that Kim Kardashian lives a mostly self-absorbed life, looks for opportunities to show her butt and her breasts as often and as much as she possibly can, it's no wonder that this child has the kind of behavior that he does in public, especially when we see Kim not chastising her child. Sure, it's possible that she didn't notice it, but it's definitely something that if I as a parent saw, you better believe my kid would get a spanking right there in front of everybody. So the question remains, who is responsible for a 7-year-old flipping off a bunch of paparazzi? Now, you just think for a moment, take some time to just consider who might be the real problem here. Is Saint just a disobedient little kid, or is somebody else at fault here? So take a moment, think about it. I'll give you some time.
Not too long, though. We do need an answer.
Maybe this will help. Yep, there's Kim and her sisters giving the bird to everybody in the camera. Well, if you guess that it is Kim's fault, then you are a winner. Johnny, what is his prize? Of course, all bad kids are not the result of bad parents. But at the age of 7, you better believe the only reason that little boy knows what a middle finger is because of his mom. Now, it may be because of the people that his mother is, letting him hang out with, or the people she brings into his life, but guess who's still to blame? That mother. I don't know what it's like to raise a teenager, so I cannot say if this kind of logic still goes into teenage years, but I bet you, if I'm a betting man, it does, that all bad kids are a result of bad parents. But I can definitely tell you this. I have a 7-year-old son. My 7-year-old has no idea what a middle finger is and why you would flip somebody off using it. My 9-year-old has never seen anybody give a person a middle finger. Never. And so I can't help but realize what we all know is that bad kids really don't exist. It's just simply bad parents. And that's why it's so important in society to have the nuclear family intact, and why it matters not just to you and to me, but to all of us growing up in this world. Because bad parents will eventually raise bad kids that become bad adults.
So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.